Story time. Today I went to do the driver's license exam and I got it. That's not the story. It's how I got my driver's license that is kind of it got me thinking on like reflecting on how my life has been actually happening. Like I was going to say how my life has been going, but my life has really been happening, and I'm really happy I moved back to Rwanda. So I'm not going to sound like there are people who's watching this that don't know me, but Paradis lived in France and then she moved back to Rwanda with her children. She left her husband behind in France, who travels back and forth to see them and will eventually move to Rwanda permanently when that happens and join the family. So why today got me thinking about my move to Rwanda. It feels like I really made a good choice because ever since then things have been going my way, especially this driver's license, because it's been on my to-do list for, I don't know, forever. And I felt like everything was not going to work the way that I wanted it to work. And of course, it didn't work the way that I wanted it to work. It went horribly, but then I still got it. And it kind of reminded me. So let me start. Okay, so I moved back to Rwanda in March this year, 2025. And I only had savings, enough savings. I had my husband who still had his work in France and he was willing to support us in case I didn't get a job. But as far as money goes, it wasn't like a stressful situation where I was like, if I don't find a job, I'm going to go crazy. No, I was going to be a kept wife. It's okay. It was okay with me to be a princess and let my husband take care of me. So that's why he had to stay behind and I moved. But I'm not going to go into the reasons that I moved. I just didn't feel the way I didn't feel in France the way I feel in Rwanda. And then I came to Rwanda, and one day, like, I started applying for jobs. I didn't know that it was going to happen immediately. People were discouraging me. Many people told me, why would you come back to Rwanda? um we don't have jobs either, or it took us a lot of hard work to get our jobs, and you might not get one as well. And I was like, that's okay. Because I have a husband. But no, like I was like, that was okay because I have a side hustle. I have like two side hustles, and I was like, with my savings maybe I'll start a business, which I did. And I do photography. Like I was like, I'm gonna be okay either way. I always feel like I'm going to be okay. But surprisingly, a day before I got a job, so March, and in April I get scammed. Somebody calls me. They you know how these people are scamming people in Rwanda, like, and they'll be like, somebody give us your number, and they'll tell you the name, so you feel like, oh, I know this person, so you kind of trust them. And they're like, they told us you're looking for a job. And I feel like these people were smart, like they went on my LinkedIn, kind of researched what kind of work that I do, because I'm really adamant on doing my type of job. I'm not the kind of people who goes and wants any job. No, yeah, again, privilege, but yeah. So these people like, oh, we want to hire you for this and that and that, and then they keep calling me, so kind of like stressing you out. You know how scammers do. So stressing me out. And eventually, like, okay, so for you to start a job, you need to buy these books and you have to send this money to this number. And this happens all day, so I'm sending small amounts of money the entire day. And by the time my brain comes to, and I realize that I'm being scammed, I've already sent like 150K. It's a lot, yeah, but it's not like a million a lot, right? So in that moment, I'm kind of laughing at myself, laughing at the fact that they are really smart, hurt that I'm not having a good experience by coming back to Rwanda, but I choose not to give up. And on that Monday, I actually get a job offer, an actual job offer. And in my head, I was like, I believe in everything happens for a reason. And I feel like me being scammed, something divine and, a grander something was looking out for me. It was like, I don't want this child of mine to suffer like this. So let me get her a job. And I got a job that I love in a field that I love, doing communications, which I love. And I was like, you know what? This is, that thing that is looking out for me so that I don't suffer. And the same story keeps happening where I start with a bad experience. People start telling me, oh, you shouldn't have came back to Rwanda. Da, da, da. My phone got stolen and stuff like that. But, some other thing will come from it that will make you feel okay. Like I didn't really lose. It feels like, life just happened. And apartments, like get a bad house, find a nicer one. No, 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 no. And then today, so let's get to today. So I show up at the exam site and everybody's getting ready. And I see people taking out their ID cards and they're like, you have to have an IBM paper and an ID card. And they're showing their ID cards. And I'm like, okay, let me get my ID. So I look into my wallet and there's no ID. I start freaking out. I'm like, where's my ID? So I go and sit back down and I scramble through my bag trying to find my ID. I don't find it. I'll call home, like my housekeeper. She's not picking up, but eventually she does. And I ask her, can you please look around the house and find my ID? And she says, I'm not finding it. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, like, I'm supposed to get my driver's license today. 3-4 months later after coming back to Rwanda. And, crazy. So I start freaking out, and I think the person who's like, when you go to do driver's exams, there is a person who gives you their car to use. So the person saw me freaking out and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, I can't find my ID. So he's like, I'm going to fast forward the story. Go talk to the commander and ask her you can go get your other ID at NIDA offices. And crazy, crazy, crazy. And in my head, I'm like, okay, like that sounds like hectic. And like, would I be able to come back in time? And he's like, don't worry about it. Even if you come up at 1 p.m. or whatever, it's going to be okay. So I run. I run to NIDA offices. And I thought, yes, the offices are open, but they're like, we cannot give you an ID before you declare at Irembo, and you have to also do a police thingy. So Irembo is not open, but I went at the police, the headquarters, and they told me, no, we don't do this here. You have to go to, I don't know, Emurenge, like a sector office. And I went back to Nida, and the Irembo, oh my God, Irembo person was open, and I got her to do what I needed to do. She told me, hurry to the police here. By this time, it was 10 p.m. I had reached the exam center, so I woke up at 5. I had reached the exam center at 7. It's really far from where I live. And I had to do all this back and forth. So I ran to the Murenge. I get there, Murenge Rib, Rwanda investigation bureaus, they are being what they are being. Like sometimes you get there, there's all these other things, police related, investigation related, that are happening. And I'm here. And I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, can you please just take care of us? Like, and I think, something heard me. I'm avoiding to say a certain God thingy, but like, yeah, like, oh my God. And I got the notification that I had to get, and I had to run back to NIDA. And NIDA, they were like, okay, give us your thingy and go wait for your ID card. So by 7 minutes, I counted, they gave me a new ID card, and I rushed back to the exam office. And I was like, okay, so I find like most people have gone through most of the exams. Some people have failed, some people have passed, and I see some failing, and it's freaking me out. And the person who was supposed to give me their card to use comes and is like, "You start." So we have to do like 5 exams. There's the one called corners. I don't understand why they call them that. Cones, yes, cones. I do the cones, I do the parking, and I'm supposed to wait for the circulation, basically driving around. So as I wait for driving around, my driving instructor calls me. Is like, "How is it going?" Because I had shared the whole freak out, and I'm like, yeah, like I've passed the 2 exams and I'm doing circulation. He's like, "Be careful, the area where you work, there's these lines that are straight. They're not dash dash dash. I don't know how they call them in English, but yeah, they're not dash dash lines. So if it's just one line, keep in your mind that they're probably going to try to trick you to park there. So if they tell you, please park on the road here, say, I can't, I'm not allowed to." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you." So I start the exam. It's going really well. You know how you start. You like blinker, and then you tell the police person, pull on your seatbelt, please. And they put it on, and we start. It's starting really nice. I go and I do the turns like when they tell you to do all these back and forth, and you have to be blinker on the behind, blinker on the left, blinker on the behind, blinker on the left. So I'm really glad the roads in Rwanda are not right-handed like in Uganda, because I'm a lefty and I can't imagine what my life would have been like, because I don't, my life doesn't work on the left. Like, this is me spiraling. So yeah, back to the turn. I do that, and as we're going up, she like, "You stop here." And the voice of my instructor comes to my head. I'm like, "No, ma'am, I'm not allowed to stop here." She laughs. She's like, "Oh my God." And she looks at me. She's like, "Okay, I'm allowing you to stop. I want to see if you can you can go through the gear shifts." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." I gear shift. Like, this is something that I'm really, like, I play a lot of Need for Speed, and I know it's not the same, but yeah. So I I passed the exam, and I'm kind of freaking out, and they're like, "No, why are you stopping?" Because in my head I didn't feel like I passed. So she's like, "Why are you stopping?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, "Yeah, you passed. Just go do the T cross." I do the T cross like piece of cake, and then we go to démarrage. Démarrage quoi? Démarrage, bro. Oh my God. So I'm freaking out, and I'm thinking, I can't fail on this one. So the car that I'm supposed to use pulls up. I'm the last one. Like, you remember, I was late, but I think that was it played in my favor, because I wasn't stressed out with the the crowd, like people watching me, people like saying, "Oh, I passed, oh, I felt, oh, look at them doing what they're doing, is this what we learned, is this the way we learned it?" So going last, like, yes, there were still a few people, but I was like the last person who did an exam there. And I am sitting on the leg, and the person who, like, whose car it is, they're reminding me, like, pay attention to this and that and that, like, you have to watch for a small tip of the cone and all that. And I'm like, okay, I take it slow. I'm like, I'm not going to panic, I'm not going to go crazy on this one. The barrage, you're like, and then and then it stops. Like the first one, I see them doing this. I'm like, okay, next one, and then I like, and then pa, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm freaking out. I don't really know. Like, I think I zoned out at that point. I just saw them doing this, but I didn't know what it meant. And the person whose car it was comes rushing to me, and they just like, get out, it's done." And they like, okay, I pull the whatever, the big stop thingy stick, yes. And then I pull that one, and then I get out. I look at the policeman, and I'm like, "Talk to me, did I pass?" And they're like, "Yeah, you did." And I'm like, everything just rushed into my head. I'm like, bro, if I'm not God's favorite child right now, like, I didn't have a card, an identity card this morning, and I didn't even know that I didn't have my ID card. That's how crazy it was. And I just, not only do I have a driver's license, now I have a brand new ID card. And I'm thinking about the scammer who scammed me, the phone that got stolen and I got reimbursed, the lost ID, and then I get a driver's license, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm loved at home. I don't want to like stress out. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you wanna go home, just go home. You are loved at home.